thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but it means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy having something on while you work, sometimes the content you like is very visually engaging and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. It is Wednesday, and it is a day. That is so true. Last video on Monday, which you see me in the same attire because I usually like to film my videos in chunks when I can, it was really just a video of me catching up with you and letting you know what's been going on with me and kind of sort of why there wasn't a video last Friday. But this week I was like, you know what, I just need to do my duty as a knitting channel, as a person who has a commitment to myself, and I will film. I did one load of laundry and one load only. I asked my partner, absolutely, what do you need for next week? Because I have stuff to do. And part of what I had to do is work. I have to work this weekend. Thankfully, it's more like office-y stuff and not like I have to go in physically, but there's definitely a lot that I have been doing in person, and you guys could get all the tea on that on Monday's video. But so I don't end up running the whole length of the time just talking about all of that, we're gonna go ahead and knit. If you're new here, I have been working on this sock. This is the first one. It's a 100% superwash merino DK weight sock with the Hufflepuff colorway from Ravenswood Fiber Company. It is no longer available. It was a limited run, and I snatched up two hanks, two hanks, one for my brother's fiance, which is the one I'm knitting now, and then another for one of my really good friends who lives back home. And I was like, why not? And then I also picked up some of the Ravenclaw for myself because I love blue, and it happened to be blue. I took a test and I found out that I'm part of the Ravenclaw house based on the Pottermore website, which is now like Wizard Place or something like that. They rebranded. Anyway, I had my other DPN so that we could knit together. Where did it go? Oh. It's like my butt is a magnet because all of the DPNs always end up rolling underneath me. I mean, logic says I'm sitting and I'm depressing the couch, so it's gonna roll towards the dip, but I like to think it's just magnetized to me. If you are new here as well, I do have a knitting calendar, so I'm keeping track of every week of the month and every month of the year, and keeping track of the projects I'm working on so that I can hopefully structure my year around everything I need to do for holiday so that I am not scrambling knitting socks forever and ever and ever. And I won't be this year. I think there's only maybe 2 pairs of socks that I'm knitting the whole year, and it's this pair and then it's the one that I'm going to be introducing next month, which are the socks for my aunt, also in DK, so that I don't have to spend 1,000,001 years knitting everybody's socks, and I'm super excited about that. So last video I was explaining, I thought I was going to have time to knit with you guys, but I was just so busy catching you up on everything I didn't have a chance to. But for this video we are just knitting around until we were 8 inches from the back of the heel to where we need to start decreasing for the toe. This is a 4-stitch pattern across the top of the foot, so I have 6 groups of 4, and then I have 2 stitches on each side of that pattern group just to create a nice border and to keep everything in line. And so I'm taking a look here where I am. Okay, so the pattern is just it's from Ann Budd's Getting Started Knitting Socks book, which is now like my holy grail. It's a simple lace pattern, which is what I'm doing now, what I'll show you. It's slip, slip, knit. Then yarn over, so 2 yarn overs, and then knit 2 together. So that's the first round of the pattern, which is super easy. Except downstairs when I was working on the decreases, I messed up somewhere. And then I got to the very end of my pattern and I'm like, I have too many stitches here. Or no, I didn't have too many, I had too few. And I'm like, what did I do? So I had to tick back a few to figure out what I had messed up. But it's so easy. Foolproof for me, which is good because I need simplicity, but I also appreciate that it's interesting. But I want something that I don't need to constantly eyeball so that I can work with this without needing to constantly take breaks and review a pattern. I did at the beginning, but then once I've done it a few times, I've got it together. And that's what I like about this pattern. So there we go. And we're at our end. So we knit 2 together at the end, and then I just have a stitch marker to keep track of the end step where I just have 1 that I knit. So when I just knit 1, boop, that's all I do. And then I work around just knitting the bottom, or the side and bottom of the foot. So, you know what? I left my sack of questions in the other room. So I don't have anything new to pull out of my baggie of topics. If you are new or you haven't watched in a while, I started this thing for the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I was like, you know what? Just to keep things more positive on the Paws and Pearls channel, I'm going to keep my knitting videos more focused on a topic so that I don't trail off and become negative Nancy, because nobody wants that. They come here, you know, to have fun, and at least I hope you do. I hope you come here because you actually want to hear what I have to say and see what I'm working on and just have, you know, a little bit of something going on in the background. And I don't think that having me go into this woe is me mode is very healthy. It's healthy for me because I'm letting it out, but it's probably not healthy for you because you're like, well, I already have my own problems. I don't need to listen to this chick talking about hers. Like, what? So I decided to kind of nip that in the bud, and to do so I've been trying to focus more on my video content with a focused conversation. So I've solicited this before, and I'll ask again, just because you never know, something might spark your mind and you want to get my thoughts and opinions on it. But if you have a question or a topic that you'd like us to discuss, let me know in the comments. And if you're comfortable with me using your handle, I will write your handle on the back of the slip of paper and the question on the front, or the topic of discussion on the front. And when I put it in my baggie, when I pull it out, I'll see who it was from, and then I'll give you a shout out and credit for that particular question. So now that I've made it back to the top of the foot, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing in this part. So the first round 1 that we just did was slip, slip, knit, yarn over, knit 2 together, and you do that for the whole way across. Now the 4 pattern for the round 2 is just knit, purl, knit, knit. Isn't that so easy? I love it. So I'll do it again. Knit, purl, knit, knit. So yeah, that is what I'm up to. So, what is new with me? What is new with me that I didn't already talk about on Monday? It's literally the same day I'm filming, so I'm trying to think of like what else is new to talk about. We got a new president. That's new. That's new. You know, you there are lots of feelings I feel about that. I definitely feel better than I did some other time ago about it, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that I'm very curious to see how it all unfolds. And at least the new thing is that we have a new president. What is a good thing, you ask then? A good thing is I am probably going to do my taxes maybe tomorrow. I finally got all of my W-2s, and I'm the type of person who loves to do my taxes because I love getting money and I pay taxes, so I always get, well, okay, there was one year I didn't get a refund, and that was because my, what happened to me? I think I accidentally misread, this was like really, really early when I was young and didn't understand how to read the tax forms, and I had two jobs at that time, and I didn't realize that like I should be, I like claimed too many things. Like I did something weird, and then it's like, no, what are you doing? And, or no, that was part of it, but then also because I was still in school, my parents were claiming me, and because like I was claiming myself, they're like, you can't claim yourself, we're claiming you. And then I was like, I didn't know that. So they're like, well, you give us your money that they gave you. So it was weird. I don't know, was that legal? I have no idea. You know, was it legal for them to take my money even though I didn't know that they were claiming me? I have no idea. They weren't like too mad about it. They're just like, what are you doing? So I was like, I didn't know it worked like that, because I technically am not their kid, because I am considered a ward of the court because my parents were deceased and my aunt and uncle were my legal guardians. But by the time I was in college, I was 18, so I didn't think they were claiming me because I was already a grown-up at that point, so I just didn't understand, and they didn't explain that to me when I was in school, so I just didn't even know. But it all got fixed, and it was just a weird experience. But my state did not give me a refund one year because they said I owed money because I wasn't claiming, or I was underclaiming or something like that. And I live in a state that's very like, they nickel it. Well, I guess maybe all states are like that. I don't know. I feel like we get nickeled and dimed a lot here, which is why I'm not so like partial to leaving. If you guys watched my Monday video, you know that I had applied to work outside of my state and very well could relocate and wouldn't bat an eye, just because I don't have any family here, and neither does my partner. I mean, we have some friends, but we don't really hang out with people like that. So it's usually just us. And our friend that used to hang out with us all the time moved to the West Coast, so we don't even see him. And I'm just like, whatever. It's just a place to live. It's not like our forever place. So we're both pretty much like, yeah, it's cool. So that is that. So I would, after I learned my lesson, after my state was like, you owe us money, girl, I'm like, fine. So I pay more. I pay more income tax. I have more of my check come out because I don't want to be in that situation again. And so far it's worked out where they've actually been able to pay me back now. Definitely not as much as I've paid them, but they paid me back some. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. Put a little in, and then I get a little back. Better than having to pay them more at the end of the year, I think. At least that's my logic. So I'm excited to do my taxes because it means I get a tax refund. And I was looking at all the documentation, and even with the stimulus checks that they gave out, you can or you will still get a refund if you are owed one. So I was like, good, because the more money I have, the better I have to, um, the better chance I have to get where I need to be. You know, if I need to buy flight to look at apartments or something while I am relocating, let's say the job does offer me it, I'm still going to need to figure out my housing situation. So I'm going to need to buy it. I'm going to need movers because they're not just going to give me money out front. They're probably going to make me pay for it and then they'll reimburse me. At least that's how it was at my current job, where you paid it and then they reimbursed you. So if I have to do that, then at least I know I'll have money squared away for stuff. And then, just those extra expenses, paying for moving supplies, tipping the movers, making sure everything is good, getting a security deposit, because it always takes, a while for you to get yours back from your landlord. And I did put a security deposit down for this place, so I should get that back. I usually do like such a really good job cleaning that people are like so impressed, and it's like I wish I had this energy every day because it does look so nice. It looks so nice now. But what can you do? But yeah, so I'm excited to get some money back, and then if we get the third stimulus check, then I will, if I qualify for that, then that's even better, because I still want to just put more money aside so that maybe one day, things have changed a little bit with the whole housing thing. I still want to buy a house one day, but if I relocate, then I'm going to have to reestablish my longevity at a certain place of work, and it should be more money than I make now, because I'm not going to go to a job that's not going to be like a promotional situation. So more money on my own end means that I can reduce my debt to income ratio from all of my student loans that I'm still paying. And if things work out where the Biden administration has forgiven any amount of student loans, then they'll really put me more in the ring to qualify for homeownership, because then my debt to income ratio will be reduced even more. So those are good things. Those are good things for me, and I'm excited about that. But I don't really know. The future is still early. Too soon to tell for everything else, but those are the new things. Another new thing is that our friend that I had mentioned earlier, that used to be like our everyday partner, is coming back to the state just to visit, just to kind of see things out, because they are planning on moving back. And my partner doesn't believe him at all. You're like, yeah, right. And I'm like, no, they just texted me. I was at work and I was like, yeah, I'm pulling a really long day today, but thank you for this message. And they're like, I'm going to be in town next weekend. And I'm like, oh, of course you're going to be in town when I'm trying to plan to reopen my place of work and we're busy. But maybe we can try to do something social distanced. And they're like, well, maybe there's like a drive-in theater open or something. And I'm like, actually, that's a great idea. So we can be in our own vehicles and watch a movie together, and it'll be fun. So I found some that are still open. A lot of them are seasonal and are only open during the summer and spring, but I found a couple that are open, and I sent them the links and some times of some shows, so we'll see if we can do it. My friend, though, I love him like a brother. He is such an integral part of our life, but he is flaky. Like, sometimes I don't feel like doing things, but I still show up and I end up having a really good time. So the fact that, like, they're gonna be coming all the way from another state, buying a whole plane ticket, and still flake out because it's happened already before, I just don't know. I just don't know. So we'll see. My partner is pretty doubtful. I kind of have faith because it's been so long since we've seen this person. I really have a strong feeling they're going to do their best to make this social distance hangout work. But at the same time, I also do know them as well. And there's always that little bit of doubt, but I have confidence. I still want to keep the hope up, you know? So let me know. Let me know in the comments if you have a friend like that, or are you that friend that will make plans and then at the last minute you're like, you know what, I just don't feel like it, or this has come up or that has come up, and there's always something that stops you from coming, or if that's the friend, something that stops your friend from showing up to these big events or these super long planned events that you've spent a lot of time organizing or getting all the details ready and everything, and they're still like, nah, I don't know, I don't feel like it. I have one friend who's kind of like that, well, besides the one I just mentioned, but another friend like that, where they just, something always happens, and it's not all the time, like every single time, but there's so many things that just get postponed, and I'm pretty much like, of course I say like it doesn't bother me, but here I am telling you, so it does bother me to some extent, but it's like, really? Like every time, like, why even bother making plans if you're not gonna show up? So like, you're the one who thought it was a good idea. A lot of these times they're actually initiated by this person, and then it doesn't happen, and I'm like, I don't get it. So that's kind of weird. I just don't even bother making plans. Like, I don't even bring it up if I'm not even gonna commit to it. So to avoid any drama, I'm just like, I'm not even gonna mention it. I just don't initiate the hangout because I know I'm not gonna want to do it. Or I'm gonna need a lot of time ahead to plan, so just to kind of get myself ready. So, you know, that's kind of how it goes. But I'm excited. I really do hope that they make it over and we can go to this drive-in movie, because I honestly haven't been to one before. Let me know in the comments if you've gone to a drive-in movie before, or like a movie on a lawn or something where you sit outside and there's like a big projector and it's a whole event. I think during these times especially, it's a good idea because I have not been to the movie theater since they have reopened, and I will not go to the movie theater until not only am I vaccinated, but like everybody else is, because it's still risky. It's just like getting a flu shot. It's like you're a little less likely to get really, really sick if you get it, but that doesn't mean you won't get it. And COVID is like crazy, so no thank you. I will just live in my life and pretend that all the movies I really want to see will hopefully be available on like DVD or something one day. But I don't even really watch movies like that anymore. It honestly is more of the experience of going to the theater that really makes me want to go watch movies than it is the movie itself. Like, some of the movies are really, really cool, but I wouldn't watch them again. But the experience in the theater is just like that much better for me. It's always been a fun treat. And actually, since living out in the suburbs than where we used to live, we, before COVID, would go to the movies actually quite a bit. Maybe once a month to see something, maybe once every other month to see something, just because there's not much else to do around our local area. So the theater was just a fun place to go, just to have some movie theater popcorn and watch a show, and then go. It was actually a theater in the mall, so then we'd get like Cinnabon or Auntie Anne's pretzels and then walk around a little bit and then go home. So that was usually like our day. And we'd go early in the morning, like whatever the first or second show was. While the tickets were still cheap, we would go. So I think actually the last movie we saw in the theater might have been The Joker, honestly. That might have been the last one we watched before everything shut down. That was good. Yeah, I don't think we saw anything else since then. But let me know. Do you remember the last movie you saw in the theater? Are you an avid movie watcher, or do you go every once in a while, or do you hate the theater altogether, or is it just not your thing? And if you do go, what is the last movie you saw? Or are you going now? Are you braving the crowds and the COVID to go watch movies? I'd love to know. Alright, I think we're going to finish this round and then call it a video. Just because I want to make sure that I change out my battery, because lately it's been dying on me, or the video's been cutting short, and I just feel really bad when I'm in the middle of a conversation and then everything goes blank, or I'm looking down and I don't even realize that I've run out of my time. My partner was so apologetic because they're the ones who picked out this camera for me. Like, I didn't realize that it only let you shoot video for 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. It still works. Like, no, the lens doesn't autofocus, which would be so nice if it did. And no, it doesn't let me film for more than 30 minutes. But then that makes me have to pay attention. So maybe that's a good thing, because if I'm splicing videos together, that's like, does Paws and Pearls really want to spend all that time making 3 videos combine into one, or does she just want to shoot one video and edit one video and then upload only one video without having to worry about how many pieces of footage she has to kind of add together? And I like that better. So we're still just knitting around. We got our pattern on the top and just the bit of stockinette on the bottom. We have to do this until the bottom of the foot is 8 inches long from the back of the heel, and then I can start shaping the toes. So it's pretty easy stuff. It's just paying attention to where I am in the pattern to know when to do my pattern 1 or my pattern 2, or like my row 1 or my row 2. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me this Wednesday. Again, let me know in the comments about all of your endeavors, your flaky friends, or if you're the flaky friend, your movie-going experiences, or if you don't like movies at all, or what is the last movie you saw in theater? I'd love to know. And I will see you on Friday. Bye!